Does a persistent sense of fear or shyness make you feel like you've failed at some basic requirement of being human? There was once a young man whose daily life was defined by the insults of his father and the easy manipulations of thieves. To him, the world was a place where he was destined to be a victim. Eventually, the weight of this perceived worthlessness became too heavy to carry. He reached a point where ending his own life felt like the only logical exit from a cycle of constant belittlement. He was stopped at the edge of despair by an older man who didn't offer pity, but instead proposed a strict 3-day challenge. Rock bottom creates a rare opening. When you have lost your sense of self-worth entirely, you are often finally desperate enough to try a radical, structured change. This challenge relied on progressive exposure, gradually increasing emotional risk to recalibrate the brain's alarm system. Starting with a low-risk foundation, on day 1, the boy had to speak to 10 strangers, testing his assumption that every interaction would result in a personal attack. After 10 brief conversations, the boy noticed something unexpected. People were mostly indifferent. By forcing himself to engage, he saw that the strangers were neutral participants, not enemies. These small, low-risk wins are the first steps in dismantling social paranoia. They provide the initial data points needed to question a lifetime of fear. On day 2, the stakes increased. The mentor required the boy to teach 10 children. Standing before a receptive audience changed his internal geometry. As he shared knowledge, energy flowed outward, forcing him into a position of value. He began to see his shyness as a response to fear, a protective layer he no longer needed. The shift from being manipulated to being respected by students provided a completely new reference point. Confidence follows action. We act first, and the memory of that successful action becomes the foundation of our new identity. The final task on day 3 was the most difficult. Returning home to confront his father. Confronting an abusive authority figure is an immense emotional risk. It meant testing his newfound agency directly against the primary source of his trauma. The previous 2 days provided a proof of concept. Having survived the discomfort of strangers and the responsibility of teaching, he had just enough momentum to keep his voice steady. When he stood his ground, the dynamic changed. He was no longer a cowering child, but a man presenting a new set of terms. While the trauma of years does not vanish in a moment, facing the root of our worthlessness allows us to finally stop its total control over our future. The world sees you through the mirror you hold. The level of self-worth you project outward determines how others perceive and interact with you. Confidence is built through these deliberate, difficult steps. It is a structure you assemble by choosing to face small fears until you have the strength for larger ones. The boy who began at the cliff's edge found his way back by testing his limits in the real world, one interaction at a time. Take a moment to look at the mirror you are holding today. Building a new reflection requires